The following show is for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching Hijinks TV from? It's your friendly local neighborhood Dick Nutbutt here. And we're back with the second episode of Chaps My Ass. Today we're going to be sitting down and speaking with Chris Ewok Carswell. I've been saying his name wrong this entire fucking time. And I probably pronounced it wrong too. Like I said, I'm a high-functioning retard. So, in the first episode, we discussed a little bit of marijuana laws, and we will be doing another episode discussing marijuana and cannabis and hemp a lot further, because we hardly scratched the surface of that topic. And today we're going to be introducing another topic, politics. Does the United States government really have your best interest in mind? Well, sit back, relax, and check out this episode of Chaps My Ass. Hey.
How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, how are you doing?
Oh, you were a little breaky there when you first spoke.
Uh-oh. Is it better on your side now, or?
Yes, it's great on my side now.
Awesome. Alright, perfect. So, I was thinking, because when I was researching this topic, there's a lot. I was thinking that there's going to be quite a few different episodes that we could do on the political topics. So, I kind of wrote down stuff for questions, kind of how the country was founded and how might be a different scenario, but it's kind of, there's a lot of similarities to how things were back then and how they are now. And I know, like I said earlier in my message, there's some things that I realized that the school system taught me that isn't correct with our government. I specifically remember being in history books.
Well, there's an awesome book that's called Lies My Teacher Taught Me. The author of the book actually went to the Smithsonian and did the research on what was being taught in school and where the truth lies. And it's a superb book, and it's things that they teach in school. It's not the actual history, but maybe it's politically correct. Maybe it's somebody's own opinion of history.
Kind of like a few other things too.
Yes.
The school systems we can talk about on a whole another show, because that is a topic alone itself. Did I hear Battleborn in the background?
He is.
Yo, what's up, man?
How you doing?
It's on that multicast. Hijinks TV, Battleborn Productions. It is what it is. We got a potluck. The ladies is in the kitchen right now, man. It's smelling good, and I can't even smell. I'm letting you know.
I wrote down, I was hoping to get a couple different subjects, not just, like the founding of the country, but so I figured I kind of for viewers' sake, kind of start talking about how the country was founded and why the country was founded in the first place. Because I've heard, in my opinion, from what I've heard, a lot of people who support Donald Trump, the way that they're speaking, they don't understand how our country and why our country was even founded in the first place. And it's hard for me to grasp the fact that they call themselves American, but they're totally doing the opposite of why our country was founded, and the beliefs that it was to be American. The thought that we would have free speech and that everybody was created equal, not just white people, not just black people, not just Mexicans, not just Asians, not just Indians, Native Americans, and Indians, that we were all created equal and that we could all prosper together. And that's not what I'm seeing anymore at all.
Well, it hasn't been that for a long time either. I mean, really, some of it even started shortly after the country was founded.
Yeah.
And maybe the largest atrocity is how the Native Americans have been treated. They get pushed onto the most remote, desolate pieces of land, is where they get their reservations at. And then it's okay if we go and screw up their land. Let's divert a pipeline out of Bismarck because it might leak oil. Let's run it across some Native American land, and guys, don't worry, it's not going to leak any oil.
Yeah, because that's magic part of land. that part of land is just going to keep it from leaking somehow. Maybe if they use some of their money to patch the leaks up.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of, like you said, some of it started right after the country was founded, and yeah, there's still, like I said, it's might be a different scenario, but it's the same. There's still a lot of similarities where I can honestly see us going towards another sort of civil war, the way that things have been going the last few years, and the ways that, and obviously it was different issues that led towards that, but it was still, everybody was so against each other that they were willing to fight each other. And I don't see how that could be any different what we're doing right now. Right.
And I don't know, I foresee an armed conflict within our country before my lifetime's over with. Maybe even in the amount of time that I would have to be part of it. All depending on how it breaks.
Yeah, it's frustrating, really, after looking into everything and just, I was looking in and seeing that I wrote down quite a few notes, and I'm going to put links in the description of this next video of where I got the information that I'm getting from, so the viewers can actually click the links and easily find that we're not making this stuff up. We're not just spitting out what we are assuming to be the truth. I went through the right links to find not Wikipedia links, and it took a lot of time, so I can't remember exactly what year it was, but I want to say it was back in the 50s that Republicans and Democrats felt the same so much that they were finally told to get a backbone and decide what makes you a Republican and what makes you a Democrat. And I don't understand why, if it was like that back in the 50s, that doesn't seem too far long ago, that we can't do that again. We can't come to a common ground again, and why we need to be essentially starting to get segregated again.
And I think a lot of that falls into the two-party system too. That you have one group telling, these people are really bad, we don't want to be involved with them. And then the other side is saying the same thing about the other side, when more than likely, a lot of the core values of what people believe are really the same. And there may be things out here on the sides that they disagree on. People have been sold into it's a two-party system. There's no way you got to be a Republican, you got to be a Democrat. I had an argument on Facebook last night with some guy that told me that I was crazy and I was going to ruin this country because I voted third party. I mean, and he believed it. I mean, I really believe in his heart that he thinks that I am going to ruin the party. And people like me for voting third party. Lesser of two evils is still evil. I think Trump's an evil man. I think Hillary would have been just as evil, just in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I choose not to vote for evil. When more and more people wake up, and I think they started to this election, we had 2 third parties right in the 5% range with Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. And more people are waking up to that. I really believe that the 2 major parties are getting ready to splinter. You have your Trump Republicans and you have your establishment Republicans. And then really you also have Tea Party Republicans that they all believe slightly different. And then you've got the Democrats with what they did to Bernie Sanders during the primary, that we know now that they screwed him and they rigged so he couldn't win. And so many of his supporters refused to vote for Hillary because of that, or Hillary may have won. I think a Bernie Sanders running against a Donald Trump, a Bernie Sanders would have beat Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I still disagree with his politics, but I do think Bernie's an honest fella. I don't think he's bought and paid for. People say the same thing about Trump. I question that sometimes. I've seen him do things for the elite. Did America deserve tax breaks? Oh, hell yes. But America deserves tax breaks.
Yeah.
The IRS is an evil entity within itself. We don't need the IRS. There's a great site called fairtax.org. Fair tax, no more money comes out of your paycheck. All your taxes on consumption. So, you go to the grocery store and you buy $100 worth of groceries. Yeah, you pay $100 worth of taxes. It's not coming out of your paycheck. That's very important. You go buy a $3,000 car, you pay taxes on a $3,000 car. You go buy a $300,000 car, you pay taxes on a $300,000 car. And you don't get to write it off on your taxes as a business expense. So I got a little sidetracked into that. Let's digress back into that. I get pretty excited sometimes when I get into that. Anyway,
Me too.
And I can go off on a tangent, let me tell you.
Hey, the show's called What Chaps My Ass.
So I believe the 2 major parties are going to splinter, at least into 2 each. And you can already see it within the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah.
There are Democrats, and then there are Democratic Socialists that are all considered Democrats. That's already really starting to happen there. And as soon as the major parties splinter, then we will see the rise of more of what we nowadays, I believe, are calling a third party. The Libertarians, the Greens, the Constitutionalists, which I believe that the bigger of a choice we have, probably the better candidate we're going to get.
Oh, yeah. Going back to the Sanders, I definitely, if he would have went against Trump, I really think he would have won. I'll honestly say that was the only election season that I started to actually pay attention, and that was when I really started to see how corrupted the government can be. So I was watching all the debates, and I watched when they had an actual debate, and when Donald Trump would be on a debate, and when Bernie Sanders would be on a debate, and he would stay on the topics that he was for, and he wouldn't go off on, calling people names and, mocking people and making funny noises. He would discuss why he was talking he would discuss why he was running. And a lot of people that I heard saying, "Oh, Bernie Sanders supporters, all they want is free shit." No, that's not it. There's money that's being spent for unnecessary expenditures that could be reallocated to benefit everybody, rather than using all this money to benefit the 1%. And there's stupid researches that are going on that the government is funding that don't, and I know that there is research that needs to be done for advancements, but there are some of them that are ridiculous. I can't remember the exact one, but I know I saw one within the last month that the government funded that was I still can't find the words. And that's what we were wanting, was that why? You could have used that money to benefit somebody else, others more in this country, than studying why a pig farts. Come on.
Right. And I'm going to try to come up with a way to say this and not sound harsh about it.
Sometimes it's hard.
It is. So, I read this great, super good, like my Donald Trump impression there, little saying about politicians today. So politicians are like post turtles. You know what a post turtle is?
No, but I'm already giggling because it just, I can see where this is going.
All right, so you're driving down the road, and you see this turtle sitting on top of a fence post. Now, you probably ought to stop and help him get down, because probably somebody that didn't know what they were doing has put him up there, put him into a position where he is not really comfortable and knows not what he is doing. That's a post turtle, and that's what politicians are today, are post turtles. If we had politicians today that were anywhere close to what the founders were, we would have a whole lot less three-letter agencies, which are unconstitutional, by the way, the majority of them. And we'd have a very small federal government, and people would keep much, much more money than the money they made.
Oh, yeah.
But, we got to keep growing the government. It's like you were saying. We want to research why a pig farts. Well, pig farts for the same reason a human does. It's got gas.
And, I'm not saying that they did, but you know what? I would not be shocked to find out that they did actually research that.
I would guarantee that they have researched why a pig farts. They probably have. So
there was another topic that I was looking up was, and this one was kind of a hard one to actually look into, was because I've noticed that a lot of what in my opinion, should be basic freedoms aren't, and so I was looking into what are the freedoms that we are entitled to as citizens, and
unalienable.
And yeah,
they can't be taken away and they can't be given away.
And I found that it's actually kind of hard to pin, like they give a general, the freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, all these freedoms under the Constitution, but then they're always trying to push it, what exactly does it cover, as in, okay, well, freedom of speech, you can say this, but you can't say this. Or freedom to assemble, alright, well, you can protest here about this, but you can't protest here about this. And then they're always trying to push it further, and so there's really no real grasp on what freedoms we have. And I've noticed they also change depending on who the person is and what their social status is, what freedoms they have as opposed to what freedoms other people have. So it's really confusing as to why we even have freedoms if they're not pertaining to everybody when it's supposed to be equality for all.
Freedom is freedom is freedom. I have people tell me, say, Ewok, man, you're not a free man. Yes, I am. Because I choose to be. I choose to do whatever I want to do. I wear a seatbelt when I ride in a car. Not because it's a law, but because I've been upside down in a race car before. And I know what a seatbelt does. That's why I wear a seatbelt. Which seatbelt laws, I think, are forced protection of self. And I think helmet laws are forced protection of self. I wouldn't ride on a motorcycle without a helmet. But if somebody wants to, that's their business.
Yeah.
When I snow ski, I wear a helmet. Which, that's not a law yet, but look for it. But I do it because, hey, well, back when I skied, I was off the chain. I was a super aggressive skier. I went fast and skied big, steep stuff. I wore a helmet. I skied in the trees. I wore a helmet. But anyway, back to subject. I got tangent again.
No worries. But yeah, there was one thing that I found very interesting, that it's kind of hard to pinpoint what exactly even freedom means to anybody, really, because everybody obviously if the laws keep being pushed further to what they're supposed to oversee, then, you know, it's obviously there's a lot of people that have different opinions of what freedom should entail to certain people anyway.
You know, and my viewpoint is the government has picked them away. A little piece here, and a little piece there. And if you just take a little one, it ain't so bad. Or if you take somebody else's, that's the issue. When people don't stand up for somebody else's rights, that is what turns ugly and the reason people lose their rights. I stand up for everybody's, whether I agree with them or not. Because if I don't defend somebody else's right that I disagree with, which I can disagree with them and still think they have the right to do that.
Yeah.
When they come to take my right for something, who's going to defend me? And that's one of the things that probably makes me more aggravated with the majority of our country. Majority of our country are fine if they're going to take a Muslim's rights away or something of that nature. And you're talking about, you made a very good point on something. You're talking about you can have your free speech right here, but you can't have it over here. You know, they're calling those free speech zones. They're trying to make it sound good. No, you have the right to peacefully assemble anywhere. Maybe not on private property, because I can tell you get off my property.
Oh yeah.
But if you're on state property, federal property, county property, I think you're good to go. These folks that do the deals where they go and block roads, I know that's burning some people up, but it is peacefully assembling. I would hate to be stuck in traffic because of that. I'd probably be mad. I'd probably cuss. I might even cuss them as I drove by. But, hey, then I'm into my right of free speech. They can have theirs. Ain't that I'm going to get out and try to whoop somebody, but they may get cussed as I drive past. But free speech, free speech, free speech. I think where free speech ceases is, you know, in the threatening of someone's life or something of that nature. I think that is not free speech. As much as I disagree with skinheads and Klansmen and all of that stuff, they have the right to say what they say. Now, the second they go to lay hands on somebody, then that right ends. The second they threaten to hurt someone, that right ends. But they can say that they're the all-power, omnipotent race all they want. That's their right. They can say that. And I think they can believe that if that's what they want to believe.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that they're right. Really pretty much don't think they're right, but you know, that's my opinion. But anyway, I can support anybody's right. I've seen this awesome thing happen during the Occupy movement. There were Occupy protesters, and I believe it was in Phoenix, and the police have said, we're going to come in and run you out. You have to this day to break your camp. Well, they weren't going to break their camp, and they were going to risk getting arrested and getting run out. And that morning, who shows up and surrounds their camp to protect them from being run out by the police? But a bunch of skinheads. And they asked the guy why he was doing it. And his simple response was, if I don't defend their right, then who's going to defend when they come to take my right? I thought that was pretty extravagant, coming from the source that it came from. Now, once again, I think that there are probably some people that are in that lifestyle that, besides of that, are probably good people. So, yeah, there it is. I was off on a tangent again. I apologize.
Oh, no, no worries.
That happens to me. It's going to happen probably more than once.
Well, it's all relative or relevant information as well coming, so don't worry about it. Exactly. It's we should, everybody, even though I might not agree, and I've said it before, I believe Donald Trump is a fucking retard, and I'll say it. I would say it to his face, but he has the right to be saying what he's saying, even though it's not it's not alright that he's saying what he's saying in the position that he's in, but he's got the freedom of speech to do so. So I might not have to agree with it, and on top of that, I really, even though I say he's retarded, I don't think that he's stupid. I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's doing it in his own strategic manner of getting what he wants. And that's it's hard to say that as much as I hate the man, and that's a strong word to use. And yeah, it's after everything that I've seen him say and everything he's done, it's hard not to, for me personally anyway, but he's still got the freedom of speech to be, in my opinion, a jackass. So.
Alright, so I got a curveball to throw you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so we have Donald Trump in the White House. There are sects of the Republican Party that really dislike him. The Democrats dislike him. The people that we call the swamp, majority of them really don't like him. Now, all these people that don't like Trump, the swamp type folks, these really, really nut job Republicans, and there's some of those. There's some Republicans that ain't so bad, but anyway, so these people don't like Trump is the big deal. And I don't like these people. Now, do they not like Trump because he's not one of them? I'm not saying he's doing the right things, because he's still doing the wrong things, I believe. But the powers that be have decided they dislike him. That's one of the very few things that I like about him. Is if these people don't like Donald Trump, well, there's got to be something else behind the scene on that I don't know. But there's some reason that the people I dislike don't like Donald Trump. And in the horrible words of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Which one of them does it make my friend?
I think we just found ourselves in a paradox.
That is definitely a paradox.
So there's something else I was looking into relative to the politics that kind of confused me, and it started with why we have a presidential election every 4 years, and looking into it I'm confused as to why the president can only stay in office for 4 years for a max of 2 terms, with Franklin Roosevelt being the only one that went 4 terms, died in office in his 4th. But why they are limited, but they can't impose a term limit on a U.S. representative or a U.S. senator. The states can't impose a term limit on their U.S. representatives and senators, and that.
Well, they actually could. I'm saying the states getting together, forming a convention of states, because we know that the politicians, the senators, and the representatives are not going to term limit themselves because it's became a career job. The states could get together and say, okay, somebody from the House of Representatives can have 3 terms. Somebody from the Senate can have 2. They could get together and do that, and there wouldn't be anything that they could do about it. It would happen because that's the Constitution written. But these guys, they put a term limit on the president. And the reason 2 terms was chosen is because Washington served 2 terms.
Yeah.
And then didn't run again. He said that he wanted to be a monarchy. That the leadership of the country should change. So there was no law in effect. And then, of course, FDR was so well loved because we came out of the Depression under him. We won World War II, and people just kept voting for him. Then I don't think he would have ran another term after the 4th term anyway. But after FDR, they actually set a term limit on the president. I think that Congress should have term limits. I don't think them nor the president should get paid for life after they serve, because they do. We don't need that bill. They don't deserve extra health care after they're out of office. They don't deserve extra health care while they're in office. They should have the exact same health care we do. They should have to have insurance like we do, just the way it should go. They are not special because they're elected officials. They're supposed to be servants of the people.
And that goes right back to unnecessary expenditures.
Yes.
the government pays for that, so there you go. But yeah, I agree that not just the president needs to be limited, because I've seen so many people, and it's another topic that I want to discuss on another episode, is I've seen recently, and I do want to look into it because it was just a picture that I saw on Facebook. So I'm gonna look into it further. But it was a bunch of crimes that these politicians that are still in office right now have actually been convicted of. So I do want to look into that further and do actually an episode on these people that are still in office that have been convicted of what looked like pretty serious crimes. So that's and they've been in office for a long time. Some of them, I want to say it was 20 plus years, and it just, like I said, that could totally be another topic in itself for another show. But the last thing that I was looking into, because this is the thing that I was told. I remember being taught this out of the history books when I was in elementary school, and then I found out today that it's not accurate. That it was in the Constitution that there was a separation of church and state, and it always confused me when I was growing up why they swore on a Bible when they were being sworn in. And if there was a separation of church and state, why they were having this religious object while they were being sworn in. And then I was looking into it, and that's not actually in the Constitution at all. It was misinterpreted in a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote back in 1901 to some Baptists, referring to the fact that there was a wall being built just separating church and state, so the state can't go in and mess with their religion, and that there was a law set up that they could not. So there was the exercise and establishment clause was restricted the government from interacting with religion, but there's actually no law anywhere towards religion other than the state. It can't be the state religion. Like, Washington couldn't be a Christian state or a Jewish state. So that was one thing that I personally feel like it should be separated. You have your freedom of religion, but that should not in any way have any bearing on your decision-making process towards the greater good of the entire country, because your religious beliefs are gonna, and I've noticed myself that religious beliefs carry a lot of bearing on people's personal lives and the way they make their decisions towards people. And when you're in a political position for the greater good of everybody, you should keep that separate. It's kind of like when you have an issue at home that's upsetting you and you go to work and you're, for example, in a customer service industry, you leave that issue at home so you can do your job and provide good service and be level-headed.
Yes. And the freedom of religion in the Constitution, it really refers to that there can't be a state religion, which a national religion, so to speak, and that anybody can worship freely however they want to. Because as soon as it becomes a national religion, then you start doing bad things to other religions.
Mm-hmm. We've obviously seen it happen. It's led to so many wars. I think the one thing I was thinking about earlier today was the phrase, history has a funny way of repeating itself. Well, okay, if we can learn anything from that, then we can see the way that things are going now and how similar they are to all these other things that led to wars, world wars. And I don't know, maybe how it could be leading towards another one. Maybe not tomorrow, or maybe not, in the next couple of years, but definitely within the next 30 years if we keep going the way that we're going.
You froze up there, man.
Uh-oh.
Are you back?
Did I cut out audio-wise?
You did.
Damn it. Do you have any more, any input on that? And I'll just edit it down so it'll look like you started talking.
I agree that it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but I think we are on the verge of possible another world war, where the majority of the world will be Axis and allies again. And I don't know that our country is necessarily the good guys as far as the government goes.
Yeah, that's definitely something I have really noticed since growing up and starting to look into more things, and especially the way our governments ran. And yeah, like I said, definitely we have several more topics just on politics alone we could do episodes on. Oop. So battery is saying it's gonna die on there. Is there any final thoughts you'd like for this episode?
Guys, research your politicians. Don't believe everything that Fox News, CNN, MSNBC tells you. Go to some independent source. Research voting records. Look what they voted on, voted for, what they didn't vote for, etc. You'll learn more about your politicians that way than the news will ever give you.
And I also found a site today that I'll include in the description where you can actually, it has every single president, and you just click a little box and click compare, and it tells you their entire history. So I'll put that in the description, because I actually found that site very helpful and had a lot of cool little features on it. So thank you again so much for taking the time to sit down and do another episode with me. And yeah, we definitely can do a couple more. I plan to do a couple more shows on politics, because as looking into it today, I realized there's a lot more information that I personally want to go through, and because I kind of just scratched the surface of of the politics today.
Right.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a message and we can set up to do another topic if you'd like.
Sounds awesome. I'd love to.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks again. You have a great night, and I'll be in touch soon.
Have a good evening out on the West Coast.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alright, thank you guys again for watching, and we will be back again very soon with the third episode of What Chaps My Ass. Remember to hit the like, share, and subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the reaction button, leave a comment, and give a share. If you can't share from the closed group that you're watching this video in, that's alright. Just hit Hijinks TV right up there, follow to our page, scroll down to the pinned video, which is this video, and share it to your wall so all your friends can see. While you're there, go ahead and hit the like and follow button, and invite all your friends to like the page as well. Alright, thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you next time for the third episode of What Chaps My Ass.